Hello, everyone. Welcome to Mining Now. I'm your host, Jared Downey. I'm one of your hosts. We've got four hosts. We've got Gus Miner, Rory Slack, Rory Bamford, all asking a ton of questions from 28 different 30, 32 different companies that are being featured here at CIM in Vancouver. So we've got, on this episode of Mining Now, we have Mathew Cook. He is the product manager at Hawk Measurement Systems. We've had Hawk on for a couple other episodes over the years, and this is the first time having someone out of Australia represent Hawk. So very excited to have them. Matthew, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So have you were saying before we got rolling, you hadn't done one of these before?
No, not of this style. A lot of the stuff I've presented webinars before, but generally not in person. It's prepared material and all that kind of. COVID obviously happened, and we started doing presentations online, and a couple of those are on YouTube and stuff like that. But yeah,
I hate to do the I'll do the quick COVID question. But for a company like Hawk, who's got that sort of that global reach, did it open up doors to go, oh, we can do business this way? Has any of those things stayed around?
We are much better at the online thing.
Yeah.
And I think COVID gave everyone a crash course on how to do business online real hard. And things like, obviously things like Microsoft Teams and stuff have made it better. And, we all started out with Zoom initially. And learning how to use that. So we got better at kind of ongoing digital communications as part of that. Yeah. Because we had to.
You just had to.
Yeah, there's no choice.
And now it's kind of nice now because now this world where it's back to normal, but now you still have this tool.
Yep.
That you just didn't have before, or you did. Some people had it. One person wanted to do it online, but then the other person's like, I don't want to do it online.
Yep.
So it's like this. Now it's just everybody's.
Everyone was forced to learn how.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing what you can learn. Hawk Measurement is. I've liked the company for a long time.
Yeah.
You have good products. You have good communication. When we've done the other episodes, it's just very clear the value. I don't have to dig too much. I basically just set it up.
Yeah.
And that speaks to a good company. For anybody who doesn't know, though, can you just give sort of that snapshot of who Hawk is?
Yeah. So we're Australian based. We've been in Melbourne pretty much the entire time. We have global distribution and manufacturers rep networks, depending on which part of the world you're in.
Yeah.
We have traditionally been a level and point sensor company. So that's acoustic level for ROM bins, crusher level, that kind of thing. We've done all of the types of either free space or guided radars, which are for liquid level and some solid level, depending on the application.
We've dug in on those.
Before. So we've also had the sonars for bed level sensing in thickeners and in concentrate thickeners and that kind of thing as well. So there's and one of the big things that we do is the microwave radar for block shoot detection. So we sell thousands of those things, especially with the iron ore in Western Australia. That's a big part of our business. But for me, the kind of the my little baby is the fiber optic system, which is, you call it a linear asset monitoring device. So it will monitor any asset you can look at on a map and draw a line on. So whether that's a pipeline or a rail or conveyors or fences or any of those kind of assets, and you can monitor them over vast distances. That's kind of the big 40,000 foot view on that one.
And how long have you been in that market?
So that started as part of a grant with Melbourne Water.
Okay.
They were digging trenches when I started. So that would have been July 2014. They were putting fibers into the ground around our facility to get that all up and going. So that would have started as a grant as part of a leak detection project. And then we basically picked up the ball and kept running with it with that. So we've done oil trunk lines. We've done water and oil in Oman and other parts of the Middle East. We've done, I think we've on our fourth job in North America right now with Conveyor. Conveyor has been a huge part of what we've been doing.
Yeah,
it's a very unique application in terms of we're the only ones really offering it to a large scale. So we're all over the world where we're getting installs all the time.
Is there some sort of recent project that sort of stands out to you? It's like kind of a good case study for people that are trying to kind of understand what to expect.
Yeah, so we've and you can have a look at this on our socials. We've just had a a handover of a project that I started right as COVID started. So
Oh yeah.
the installation was very slow because we couldn't get to site very often. But it's a 7.5 kilometer series of 3 conveyors that runs from a coal unloading station to a power plant. It's the main arterial supply. It's 2,500 tons an hour of thermal coal going into the primary bunker. If that supply line for any, if that conveyor was cut for any reason, it would be something like 40 or 50% of the power of New South Wales, which is the state Sydney's in. So it's a pretty significant amount of people would be looking at power disruptions if that conveyor was down for any length of time due to a catastrophic failure or something getting torn in half. There's no backups on this particular conveyor. Yeah.
So when you're sorry, wrong time to have a drink of coffee.
Yep. Oh, I'm from Melbourne. It's fine.
Australia's big into coffee, isn't it?
Melbourne's considered the coffee capital of the world.
I've heard. I just had.
I'm struggling with North American coffee, I must say.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is it what?
I haven't seen a percolator in Australia since like 93. Like it's not done. We've got a huge population of Greeks and Italians, especially in Melbourne, especially in Sydney. They brought that culture with them. It's amazing.
Really?
And the coffee is outrageously good in Melbourne.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
When you come down, I'll take you out somewhere. Just to one of like the local places, it'll knock your socks off.
Really? Just an everyday place.
Everyday places. So Starbucks, I think, went bust twice in Australia.
Really?
Yeah, because the base level of coffee is so much better.
Well, Starbucks is our main sponsor, but no.
There it is. There it is.
I'm kidding. They wouldn't. So on a project like that, what's the onboarding like on something like that? Is it because it's such a valuable asset that you're essentially monitoring?
Yeah. So I'll give you a cutout that you can probably put up on the screen. Or something.
Sure.
It's a traffic light based system. So we keep it simple for the operators because sometimes the operators can be simple. So we want to make sure that it's really clear. So we'll give you a list. So you sit down. The system's run right before your shift started. It's running a series of alarms and a report. You read the report and you can see all the new idlers. So anything that wasn't there yesterday has come up, and then you can see anything that's escalated to a certain level, and then you get a list of everything else. And you can go through and go, I need to really check out 2241, idler number 2241 on conveyor 2, because that has been read for 2 days.
So this is every idler.
Every idler frame. So traditionally in an idler, you'll have three, and then 2 on the return. So 3 on the carry, 2 on the return. We'll nail it down generally to that trio, because we run along the stringers on both sides of the belt, so it's kind of a parallel system. We'll also give you left right. It's an indication though, not a measurement, because we're looking at how much signal we're getting left versus right. So it's inferred. So it's not a true measurement in that respect. But that'll give you left, right, which idler, and we're generally accurate to that frame plus or minus 1. Depending on the spacing. Obviously, if they're really close together, the accuracy goes out a little, but yeah.
Are people now? I've heard of these systems before. Are people pretty in tune? Like, is it? Do you have to do much of a sales job nowadays, or are people reaching out to you?
So they come to us.
Yeah.
The challenge in selling it is it's a capital project, and they take forever because of the number of zeros involved in the type of design they are. These things can be for large installations. They can be between $500,000 and $1 million. But what they can do will allow you to earn your return on investment back in hours of equivalent downtime. If you've got a coal belt running 2,000 tons an hour and you're looking at $200 a ton for thermal coal, depending on it's different. Australia versus here. I think we got up to 275 at one point. If you end up in a situation where you're at $400,000 an hour, I got to save you 2 hours of downtime and the project's done. If you can have an idler take your belt down and you can get it back in 2 hours, you're doing a good job.
Is a lot of it prevention though? Is that what it's before it ever?
So I want to be able to tell you, hey, you might want to run the belt down because this idler is looking bad. Or I would give you, we have the reds, the yellows, the greens. Sorry, the red, orange, green. Traffic light. Yeah. So the idea is this one's only an orange. It can wait till next Wednesday when we're doing our shutdown.
Right. Okay. So it's also tiering your. Yeah.
So we tried giving it percentages, but it got a little bit idlers can change over time and they jump
Right.
around a bit. So we've basically kind of, broken it into thirds.
Right.
So you can see normal, priority 2, which is your, the orange idler, and then there's the red, which are the ones that clang and clatter and bounce around.
It must just be a huge for people that have run these sites. All of a sudden now you're not all this guesswork, right? I mean anybody who's watching, if a conveyor goes down,
Yep.
I mean you're
Yeah, and we're also working as well because fiber optic sensing, you can do 3 things with it in traditional sense. You can do vibration or acoustic monitoring, whether that's acoustics, vibration through the air. You can also do temperature monitoring and strain monitoring. So the strain monitoring we use in tailings dams and things like that. But one of the things we're doing is we're taking the temperature monitoring system, putting it above the belt and using it for flame detection. So there's been a lot of people who've tried to do temperature monitoring of idlers. There's just not enough energy there to really get it across to the fiber. So there's been limited success.
so
with that.
this is a separate line then for the flame?
It would be above the material. It sits under the weather cover, and you're just basically looking for accumulation of heat because of convection. Because otherwise all you've got is radiation in the field, and the amount of, if you've got a 100-degree idler and you've got an idler, if you've got a fiber 100 mil away, 4 inches, the change in temperature is less than a degree. So the University of Queensland, who's above Sydney, they did a big study on this, and effectively there's just too much turbulence. There's not enough, it's not an insulated enough system to be able to allow transfer. But one of the things we can do is throw a fiber above there, and then you can go back to your insurance company and say, I've got fire detection on my belts, give me a discount on my premiums.
Right.
That has been enough to make jobs worthwhile for certain clients.
Yeah.
Just that. Like no downtime saved. Literally, I'm just going to reduce my insurance premium.
I was curious. We have a monitor that has a list of questions that's kind of scrolling past, and one of the questions that's on that screen is, basically what should be mandated by the government, and which is a really tricky one. But I'm not someone who defaults to the government should put in more regulation, but
there are certain mandates around the world. So
I'm wondering. Well, that's what I was going to get to. Is this the type of, like, fire detection? It almost seems like that could be a regulation.
It could be. These assets typically, you find out, especially for the overland assets, hill. The way you find out these things are on fire is you look over the horizon and see smoke. Right?
It seems so ridiculous.
Well, we better call someone. That's the kind of situation you end up in. So,
is it supposed to do that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, happened again. That kind of situation. But in certain parts of the world, Australia is one of them. If the belt is underground in a coal mine, it must be walked by someone of a superintendent level. Now, what ends up happening is people drive by and they stick their ear out the belt and they listen for what the Canadians we've been speaking to have been referring to them as clangers. So, squeakers or clangers, depending on how bad they are. Yeah. So, you just drive by.
Oh, it's still the red, green, blue.
Yeah. Well, that's what I said. So the clangers are red and the squeakers are orange. And he just looked at me and went, yeah. I went, great. That's how our system works. This will be easy to hit. Yeah. That's one of the biggest challenges is making sure that what we're reporting is the expectation of the site, because it's a subjective, like you can look at an idler and walk away in 5 minutes. It's making a different noise. Yeah. So we basically take a snapshot for a minute every 5 minutes and then build a model out of that.
Well, because once something goes off, once the system goes off, now it's an active, it escalates.
So there's a certain threshold.
Yes.
We do monitor all idlers, but the ones that make it through, they need to make a certain amount of threshold. And we're not just looking at energy, we're also looking at frequency. So when we start with you, we'll get one of your idlers or the drawing from it and work out the bearings. So the size of the ball bearings in the bearings will make a difference to the target frequency we're looking at. And the inner and the outer race and the shell all have different modes of frequency. We build a model, a pretty generous model around that to make it all work.
Have you gotten in, like, the Canadian market? For US, but have you gotten a chance to work with some of the big mines out here?
We've got 2 in one of the big mines out in BC, close to the Alberta border, around Sparwood, for those who know. And we've also people are aware of it. It's been talked about in public. Tech Coal.
Okay.
Have done a couple. They had a big talk on it. I think it's CIM last year.
Okay.
One of our contacts there did a big chat, and it's a highly successful situation there. They've got 2 installs. We've got another install going here in Vancouver, and I've been here for the last 3 weeks now, speccing a couple of jobs. We've also got a grain terminal that's going ahead down in Louisiana.
Oh, we've got to get you on our agriculture show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's been a lot of fun, actually. I mean, yeah, like obviously you've got some pretty significant grain movers out here as well.
Oh, yeah,
We're having a bit of a chat with that. That was very much one of those. We're out there to have a look at that because they've had problems, and grains are spontaneous combusting flammable material. And that's one of the other advantages with fiber optics as well. You don't need to worry about all your hazardous area approvals. There's no electricity. So the sense, like if I can get one thing past everyone, the sensing element is the cable. There's nothing else there in the field. We have a way that
I'm sure. Like I didn't understand that.
So effectively, like little changes that are occurring in the environment will affect the glass by compression. If in strain, they'll change density, in temperature, vibration will vibrate the cable, and those little changes, the light we get back, the scatter of that light changes. So if you imagine you have a prism in your hand that was made of jello, and light coming out spreads a certain way, if I was to change the shape of that prism, that spread of light would change. And we are effectively, it's in the infrared spectrum, but we take that information in, we look at how it did look, how it now looks, and then we can actually take sound, temperature, and strain out of there.
Just for our limit of time today, I wanted to just ask, just from your sort of personal point of view, why do you think Hawk? Because it's such a successful company, and all my interactions, everybody's passionate. Everybody wants to share information. There's some sort of culture there, and I haven't even talked to the team from Australia. You're the first person from. It's always been the U.S. side. What is that culture that you've got over there? I've been quite interested.
We spend 25% of our revenue, not profit, revenue, on R&D every year.
Wow,
that's the big difference with Hawk. So we are owned by an engineer. So it's a single owner. And he is incredibly passionate about sensing. And Hawk has always focused on getting the front end of the sensing right, and then working on the back end.
So that's why the team is so like technical knowledge. Even on your marketing department, there's technical proficiency, and you don't like. I'll talk to some market. They hardly know the product line.
We own our parts. Like we own our own manufacturing in Melbourne. We really. We have our own quality procedures. We work with obviously circuit board suppliers and things like that. We don't load our own boards, but we do everything else. Like we're full assemblies done. And when you come down, I'll show you the factory in Melbourne. But we do our own R&D. There's probably about 12 full-time R&D engineers that work with us there.
That makes sense.
It's been an interesting company to work for, especially starting out. I finished uni. Basically moved straight into this job, and it's just been jumped around in different.
How long have you been with them?
It'll be 10 years in July.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man, Matt, I genuinely mean that it's very exciting to have. I've known Hawk for a long time, had them on the show, research, sort of stay up to date, on social media and stuff like that. So I'm glad we could actually tee this up. I hope we're getting you back on the show when we do our Australian tour, because it's going to be awesome to actually come to your facility. So
pleasure.
Thank you very much, sir.
Too easy.
And of course, for Hawk Measurement Systems, you'll have they have their LinkedIn, I think you have a pretty good YouTube channel, don't you?
Yeah, we've put a little bit of effort into some of the 3D animations and stuff as well to explain how they all work.
So go check out their YouTube channel, and you can connect. I see Matthew's link here to his LinkedIn, so go connect directly with him. We will talk to you soon.